Welcome in, welcome in. Let the party begin. It's good to have you guys. Always good to have you guys and be here and be able to share, bring out some stuff that we could talk about, that I could bring out and kind of see if it clicks with y'all. It's really about us waking up. Everybody that's really, this channel wouldn't be for anybody but those who are starting the awakening process, to those who are awakening and having experience and getting more and more, raising their frequency and vibration of understanding and understanding aspects of self that will go ahead and because you're in this place of being able to receive higher conscious, higher knowledge, right? And when I say higher knowledge, here's the thing, and we're going to talk about higher self and lower self, because I had some questions and some statements that I know that I have heard and were brought to me, and one by a specific young gentleman. When I say young, late 30s or middle 30s, actually, to approaching middle 30s. Let me think, yeah. And it's about higher and lower self. Was the question asked, that they felt that was distinguishing a difference of what higher and lower self is, when it really is you. And we're going to get into that and talk to it and talk about that and kind of bring out some things about that, and kind of get the understanding really what is higher and lower selves. They are definitely all of you. All of higher and lower self of yourself is you. Is definitely you. It's not one isn't and one is, or one's demonized and one's heavenlyized, right? Or angelized. It wouldn't be that. There's a greater understanding that would give an understanding of what it really means. So let's kind of I'm going to share a page, and we're going to talk about this. And I'm going to bring some things out. I didn't know if we could even find that here, but I was able to. And we're going to go into it. So, it was there. Sometimes you really can't find this stuff in Google. So in spirit, it says in the overview immediately, let's get into this, that in spiritual terms, higher self vibration refers to a state of consciousness categorized by positive emotions like love, joy, peace, gratitude, while the lower vibration represents a state dominated by negative emotions like fear, anger, guilt, shame. Essentially, the higher self is associated with elevated, harmonious energy, while the lower self is connected to the denser, more chaotic energy. You know, that is good. I really like that. I'm surprised in this that they would even be that good. And it actually has higher self vibration and lower self vibration. And then it kind of gives you how to raise your vibration frequency from the lower to the higher. First of all, this is good and I like it. So really, in a nutshell, they're both you. And I do like this, what this is saying, and we're going to get into it. I have a few of these here that's going to go specifically. Is I like that it begins with higher self vibration. And that's the key. The difference between your higher self and lower self is that it says this by the states of the fruit that come from it, right? You're seeing peace, gratitude, love, joy. In the lower self, it represents fear, anger, guilt, shame. So what this really is, they are both you, both qualities, all these are in you. But let's kind of step away from this, but we'll stick with the verse, the third word in this, higher self, and we're going to stick with the word vibration. The difference between the higher self and the lower self is a vibrational speed of the vibration. In the denser vibration, which it talks about, the lower self being a denser vibration, with more chaos and harmony, it vibrates at a very lower spin rate. It's very slower. That would be the lower density, the lower self. The higher self is connected to faster spin vibration rate in the higher densities. It is spinning at a higher speed towards the speed of light, which when you go into the fifth dimension, the speed of light is now you're entering into unity. Individual aspects of it are decreasing, and the more collective is increasing, and the spin rate's faster. And that spin rate in that fifth is actually opening you up to a higher state of the fifth is collective and love, right? A very love frequency is in this. And when we say love, we're not just talking, there's many facets of what love is, even in the lower dimensions to the higher. We operate in both of them. We have the higher where we have the empathy, and we give, and we really empathize with people. Empathy, when you take imagination, empathy, and intuition, these are three aspects of yourself that lead you and open the door to the higher vibrational pull. And when you hit these, you can use these. Think about how powerful empathy is. That empathy actually can make you feel somebody's pain and experiencing it and feel what they went through. You're able to come out of yourself to feel what they went through and feel even what they went through and somewhat experience it in your empathy, but you didn't experience the experience that they had to cause it, but you feel their pain through it because you stepped from one lower to a higher frequency spin, and you're able to use your empathy, right? Intuition, getting knowledge without proof, knowing things without proof first, and then you take the proof, and then it's knowledge, which is more logic. Intuition doesn't need proof from outside yourself. You may know it and nobody else knows it. And if somebody says prove it, you can't prove it to them. A lot of times in my life on certain aspects of intuition, the proof always would, maybe even when it did come, the proof would come later, even though I knew before that. And I'm more right and comfortable with it. So really, when we're looking at the difference between your higher self and lower self, and this was somebody's question and statement to me, is vibrational spin. Both of them are you. Both of them is lower density and one's higher density. You're within all the densities too, right? You have the ability to go to the lowest, and thou shalt, leave yourself in a lower place, or you can go to the higher vibrational pull of the collective, or you can go to the lowest place of the individual in separation consciousness, which is the 3D reality where you feel separate from source. If that makes sense. So, because I've heard people, and I've been asked thinking, oh, that's kind of religious because it's separating. No, it's about vibration and spin rate. The higher the vibration is, faster it is a higher self action. The lower is in lower density is the lower self action, but it's all you. You have the capability of picking it up and laying it down, or laying it down. You can resurrect, or you can ascend, or you can descend. You can live or you can die. That's boom and boom. Same as above, same as below. You can breathe in, but you will breathe out. You can that which is above is below. That which is within is without. It's all filled with definitely hermetic order, because the universe is filled with hermetic order. So this actually is pretty good for coming from the overview of this, and it gives you some practice, mindfulness, meditation, but it's about raising your frequency and how to do it. Let's see if there's any images worth lifting before I go to the next thing. Oh, it does. It has the happiness. It has the higher self, lower self. Notice it's a coil. This is the Tesla coil and this would be the Tesla coil actually. Notice it goes in a spiral. That's why spirit is spiral. Inspiration is in spirit or in spiralation, right? And then you see the happiness and the unhappiness. They will deal with your higher and your lower selves. It is both you, and you both can live in it. You've had the experience in both of going lower and going higher. You fell physically, spiritually into a physical plane, and you took on a body because it became so dense you turned into matter. Well, your spirit got locked into matter, into the lowest matter, and that's something you weren't experiencing before you came into matter. You were dealing with higher self and not having any issues with nothingness at all. You weren't, so there was no differentiation of yourself. Of some things are different in that experience. All things would be the same in that experience. You're in a higher state. You're in the highest state, going into the monad, going from a higher self to the oversoul, into the monad, into the dark, into all nothingness is everything. All everything is potential. All potential is nothing. So that's really, and not having the pressure there. The pressure was having the individuality it would recruit by being actually falling into the body and density and everything that went with it, right? So this is actually some good images. You can even go there and even get some charts and stuff if you want to do some of this kind of work. That you can even chart and actually measurables of even here, lower mind, body, and then it's up to higher with the pyramid. Notice that the pyramid means what? It means middle, fire, because para means fire and mid means fire. So the middle is the fire. The mid is the fire. That's why you have solar plexus, because it's talking about the pyramid. Solar plexus, pyramid, fire mid, solar plexus. Solar means sun. It means heat. It means soul. That's why when you get connections with people, you'll find that the solar plexus will light up and go into heat because the fire is burning. There's a fire burning, right? So let's go. Let's see. We did higher. Let's see if a little bit of lower. Lower self's a part of a person made up their passions, pride, greed, hatred, other negative emotion. It's also known as the ego self. It is often the part of a person that they identify with. The lower self can be dominant force because it's you have to be awakened to start realizing it, or you will be asleep, the matrix. But it is considered to be a small, pathetic thing. I wouldn't say that, depending on what that really means. But it's considered to be a small. I would not look at it as it's part of you. The lower self can manifest depending on a person's it can cause people to act irresponsible, undisciplined, pathetic, apathetic, uninterested, even have rebirths. And we're talking about going into the karmic law and karmic relationships that are there to point us to our weaknesses to work on. Some ways to overcome lower self is contemplation, creating reminders, taking back. I like this, taking back. But this all has to be encompassed with an awakening, because if you don't know and you remain asleep, you won't know what even higher self and lower self is. You never experienced it. And a lot of things that we start experiencing in our higher self, we experience all this in our lower self all the time. All of us go through it in lower self. I mean, it's not foreign to lower self of the world of the 3D reality that people get depressed, feel lonely, will abandon, will feel suicidal. All these aspects of the lower self, which is really the lower self, is also connected to the separation consciousness. You feel you're separated from God, source, universe, your connection. You don't feel you have that connection. When you wake up, you start realizing the awakening is kind of the in-between. It starts ushering in you that you understand nothing is like you thought it was. The world, you go through the dark night of the soul. You go through all this stuff. You realize that everything you're taught was not actually correct. That everything is starting to become new, but you feel like you're losing because nothing you had before is foundational, which was an illusion of foundation. Then you're like, I don't have a foundation. But if you wait a little bit, the dark night of the soul will show you, because it will awaken you, and you will have a greater foundation than you ever had when you start. And then knowing this and experiencing this, and then as you start awakening more to the higher self and some of the things that go along with the higher self that we cover here, intuition, telepathic results, clairvoyance, some of these things, as you go higher and higher, you start realizing that you didn't know much, and as you start learning and knowing more than you did before, right? That somebody's just in lower self and doesn't even know that they're in lower self, is that you realize the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. It's like realize, have I realized. You realize to realize. Notice that you realize that you need realize. You need to start seeing. So your realization starts to have realize that you can see. Realize that you have realize. Realize you need realize. I like that little thing. I'm giving you a word dance right there with that. So through all of this, it's the spin rate of the lower self, and the lower self is really spinning low in the lowest density. But as you raise your consciousness, it's going like this, and it starts going up and up and up, and it's spinning super fast like a top. Now you're hitting love frequencies, unity consciousness. Your individuality starts decreasing, and it becomes more of a collective. In consciousness, not in communism, that we've seen exploited by these, you know what I mean. You know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean if you guys know what I mean. It's not about the myths, right? Man. I recorded 2 today. This is my 3rd, and I recorded a lot earlier in the late afternoon, and this is after dinner. So having a little belching after having a little dinner. But anyways, let's see if we got another one up here that we might be able to see, because I did add another one. And this is a combination, let me see, of, I'll see. It really goes into higher self. I asked for, let me get this out of the way. I know you guys can't see it. It's the thing I have. The vibrations difference. Let me put this in differently. Higher self vibration compared to lower self vibration. See if it gives us any. A higher self vibration refers to a state. See, this is giving you referring. It's not telling you that it's a faster vibration. It just tells you what it's linked to. It's not telling you that the vibrations are like the lower guilt, shame, jealousy, the higher hope, peace, forgiveness. It's not really telling you the vibrational speed. Let me see. Higher self speed of vibration. Let me see if that is faster. See if that answers it. Is faster. The higher speed vibrations consider, yeah, there you go. So this is really the answer that I put. It's okay that I put this others. You got to see, and there's some charts in those ones. If you take the picture, just go look it up yourself. But in the context of spiritual and energetic concept, a higher self with a higher speed of vibrations considered to be vibrating at a faster rate. And that's what the difference is. They both are you. It's not about separating a religion. Higher frames of speed of vibration to higher self, lower to lower self, more density, slower to lower self. It's not about creating a religion or anything like that. There's your answer to what it means. It spins faster. Faster, faster, faster. It makes sense. Speed, as we go to the speed of light, and the speed of the 5th density is very much, you hit that 5th, you're talking about love frequencies and unity consciousness, empathy, caring, right? And all those types of things. So yeah, frequency, and I like the vibration. Frequency and vibration, essentially referring to the frequency energy of waves, where a higher frequency means faster vibrations. A higher vibration is often linked to positive emotions. That makes sense. Many spiritual practices aim to raise one's vibrational frequency to a higher level of consciousness or connect with the higher self. Boom, there we go. And that's kind of really what it is in a nutshell. So yeah, I just had a couple questions, and and the person I talked to definitely, there you go. And why gave him the answer. What I already gave him this answer, but we showed you. And when I said that, he goes, "Now that makes sense." He did in our conversation. He said, "Yeah, that makes sense. It's a higher speed of vibration. They're both of you. The one lower speed of you, higher speed of you. Density of you, higher density of you. Frequency of the spin rate, higher, which draws you into positive, reassuring, positive thinking emotions instead of always me and playing the victim emotion, lower frequency. That's what's wrong with playing the victim all the time, always being the victim. Government's been great at catching us to play that. We've seen that's the last 60 years, 65 years. Gets you expecting certain things because of promises and mindsets, and then you're always playing the victim. I've seen this over and over. And when you play the victim, you're spinning low. It's a low vibration, a very low vibration because the spin rate's slower. We want to get our spin rate up, which means taking responsibility. But also, if you're asleep, you're not going to know. If you're asleep, you're not going to know. You're not going to experience that which you experienced when it was in a higher vibration. So you guys, thank you. I really wanted to share this with you. It was a question one of our listeners who interacts with me, sends me messages, and even calls now. We even call. We built that kind of rapport. Had asked, and I wanted to make a video about it because anybody wonders. And I had heard some people that I really trust spiritually try to demonify the word higher and lower as almost religious. And I'm here to say, no, that's not what it means. It's not what it means at all. So it's about speed rate of the vibration that you're holding in higher and lower. That makes sense. It's just like when we know this is a very low vibration. The spin rate's slow. We see when we go through things, raise our vibrations and get on that, we're like, man, we've been here for 3 hours. It feels like 20 minutes. You've had those experiences, right? You have an experience and you're like, man, what? 3 hours went by. It feels like I just got here. There's something going on with the spin rate that you're experiencing that's higher, faster. So faster and higher go together. Slower and lower go together. Slower is lower. You guys have a great day.